You ever think about taking a vacation in orbit? Sounds ridiculous, right? Well, when the Space Needle here in Seattle was built in 1962, back at the dawn of the space age, lots of people thought they would soon be taking trips just like that. Of course, it hasn't quite worked out that way. It cost about $500 million just to take the space shuttle out for a spin. Kind of an expensive vacation, isn't it? One, please. Thank you. But what if there was another way to get to space? And what if that way were as easy and as cheap as riding an elevator? Well, strange as it sounds, some people think this kind of trip might just be possible one day, thanks to something known as the space elevator. A 22,000-mile long cable that we could ride straight to outer space.
What we're talking about is building the biggest thing ever.
And what enables this big idea is the discovery of something so small you can't even see it with the naked eye. A new material called a carbon nanotube. Fueled by the promise of these tiny tubes, people are already working to turn the space elevator into a reality. Now, if you think the whole idea of an elevator to space sounds like science fiction, you're right. It was popularized in the late 1970s in a sci-fi novel called The Fountains of Paradise by Arthur C. Clarke.
At last, we can build the space elevator, and then we will have a stairway to heaven, a bridge to the stars.
But as long as people have dreamed of building that bridge to the stars, no material existed to make a cable that's strong enough. That is, until we found that one of nature's most common atoms, carbon, was leading a secret life.
I wouldn't say carbon is promiscuous. I would just say it's very open-minded.
Carbon atoms just love to form extremely strong chemical bonds with one another. We knew they could be arranged in a lattice to form diamond, or in sheets to form graphite. But until recently, we had no idea they could also form tiny spheres called buckyballs, and tiny tubes called carbon nanotubes. Much stronger and lighter than steel, and able to conduct electricity, these cylinders of pure carbon have been called a wonder material. A new building block that might be used in everything from electronics to airplanes. But as a space elevator cable, carbon nanotubes have some big problems. The longest ones ever made are only a few centimeters. And joining them together end to end, one at a time, is simply not practical. So how would we ever use these tiny tubes to make a cable that's 22,000 miles long? Deep in the heart of Texas, scientists are taking a different approach to assembling carbon nanotubes.
It's the dream of the future, but it's an achievable dream.
To make a batch of carbon nanotubes, bake a silicon plate coated with iron particles at 1,300 degrees Fahrenheit in a special oven. Then add a dash of acetylene, a gas that contains carbon. When acetylene comes in contact with the iron, it releases its carbon atoms, which assemble, as seen here, into nanotubes. When the plate comes out, it's coated with a black soot that contains trillions of carbon nanotubes, all aligned vertically in what Ray Bachman calls a forest.
Think of a bamboo forest.
But unlike a real bamboo forest, the trees in a nanotube forest tend to stick together, thanks to a faint force operating at the nanoscale, called the van der Waals force. It's sort of like magnetism.
So when you pull one nanotube out, you pull its neighbors, and then they pull out their neighbors.
Pulling a whole row of nanotubes from the forest on the left, they can draw out a ribbon of pure carbon nanotubes, held together by nothing but the van der Waals force. This ribbon is less than 1,000th the thickness of a human hair, and it's stronger than steel. But can nanotube ribbons ever be made strong enough for a space elevator cable?
That is an unresolved question, but in science...
But will we ever take a ride in a real space elevator?
I think it's crazy, but I still think it's possible. And I think it's something that if we can do it, we should do it.
Well, one thing's for sure. We've got a long way to go before that happens. But who knows? Perhaps someday technology will catch up with our imaginations and take the space elevator out of the realm of science fiction once and for all.